Well, this is Old Electronics Fan, and this is part 4, and I want to get into this little mess right here. But first, I want to see if I can zoom in and show you what I was talking about earlier with that oil line right there. Okay, let's see. This will try to. Okay, you can see that it's got oil in it now. This is the part. This is the part that goes out. Yeah. So this is the part that goes out to the front. That part sits out, goes through the plate here and through the plate here, and you see the little end sticking out the other end. So this has been. I have a feeling this has never been oiled. Thankfully, this spins. It spins rather nicely here, motor. I'm hoping I didn't over oil it, but this was so dry that when I forced oil into it, it went about to here, and that was it. So that was not great. So I want to show you that, and then I guess you can see it better that one. But anyway, so let's zoom back out a little bit, and we'll go down here. Oh no! Yeah, not good. Here is what happened. When I put this all together, I actually tried to make this, I tested it to see if it would operate, and it wouldn't. None of the controls on the front panel worked. So I unscrewed this and I tilted it up, and because I couldn't see on the back side, I used my handy dandy little angle thing. This little mirror came out of an old copier. I just stuck it on a piece of aluminum and I could flex it wherever I want. And I noticed that yeah, stop. This part, this bottom part, was doing this, smiling. And from here to here, these were not touching the contacts on here. So I started heating this a little bit to try to get it to stop smiling. And it didn't take much to, when I was flexing and playing with it, for this to come apart. Now I've used this epoxy before, and it seems to hold up fairly well. But, I mean, I don't know if this plastic just doesn't like epoxy or glue of any kind. I really don't know. But it came apart. So I bought this. It wasn't cheap, but I realized that fighting with this probably wasn't going to work. Yeah. I don't know if whoever worked on this tried to glue that also. I don't know. Doesn't matter. I spent a lot of time on this trying to make this work, and I would have had to probably put wedges underneath here, and I said, well, you know what? I really don't want to do that. So, so what I did before I put this all together was I hit this with some alcohol, and as you can see, it's really nice and shiny. Oh. And so when I got this, I tried to put this on here and make sure that it fit properly, and it didn't want to go. and I was trying to force down and it went sideways on me, and I said, you know what, I don't want to put too much force on this, because on the other one it cracked right here. So I took a small file and I smoothed the sides of these, and I kind of beveled the ends a little tiny bit, and hopefully it's going to work. And putting this on, you got to make sure you have the connector side facing the right way up. I could just see myself putting it in upside down and wondering why nothing worked. And that would be very upsetting if I had soldered all my new wiring on and then found that out. That would be very, very unkind. Okay, good. That worked a whole lot better than before I cleaned up the ends. Right, so all of these wires, these extra wires they gave me that clipped off, I'm going to remove those and solder them, and then go to work. That's lovely. Go to work on soldering all these wires back on. And I'm going to have to make very sure that I don't get these reversed. So I've got that end, which is in place. I've got these on this end, which are in place. And I'm going to have to make very sure, and you pay attention to the numbers, they have numbers on these. And I make sure I have the right wires and the right numbers for the ones I can do that with. And then I got to match up these wires for where they go. And I think the my video that I have stored on this laptop here will get me there. So that's going to be fun times, as you can tell. However, so the other thing that ran through my mind was, this is, I believe, what they call the mechanical connector. I forget exactly what they call it, but I believe this is the connection that all of the controls go through to make things happen in this. And I'm guessing that the lights, there are bulbs behind each of the controls. Well, none of those lights turn on. I've checked a number of them when I was repairing the switches, the micro switches. I checked a number of those bulbs and they were all good. They looked fine. They had a meter reading. I told you English was my second language. I could read continuity on the bulbs. They were 68 thereabouts ohms. They were 28 volt bulbs. So I'm betting that because this thing was smiling and not making full connection, that it's possible that the connection or connections for the bulbs wasn't connecting through this connector. We'll see. If that's not the case, then I'm going to be chasing the wiring for that. Well, hopefully my schematic will tell me give me enough information to figure this out. So I am going to proceed with this, and hopefully when I get all done, it will work. We shall see. I think I'm going to secure this to the chassis so that when I want to remove these wires, it doesn't move around. I really don't want to yank on these wires more than I have to. So, yeah. Interesting. I'm looking at the wires behind to see how they match up with the wires up front. Well, anyway, I'm hoping I can get this wired back together and working properly, and I can show you that when it's all done. So, here I go. Well, there it is, all done. If you're looking at the previous video of this, you'll notice that the wires came around and came in from the top. The reason I put it together this way is that I was coming over the top, doing wire by wire, trying to solder it in. Now, maybe if I started at this end and worked my way that way, it might have been okay to have them coming in from the top like that. But having the wires come looping in from above would have meant that I'd been going under the wires and trying to get at my solder points, and that would not be good. And it doesn't really matter which way I go, I guess. I mean, the connections are the same, the wires are the same, so I just happened to notice when I was double checking to see if I had the this group of wires right here, 1, 2, 3, those are the ones that had pulled out. Those were in the 14 through 8. So, 14 through 8, yeah. It's upside down. So, that middle section where you see there are no pins, that's where those are. So there are a couple of reasons why I opted to go this route. And I could have tried this again, but now I've got this kind of lined up, and you see the huge gap there. Part of the problem is there's glue that I didn't notice down here that was keeping this end propped up a little bit. And I did clean the original glue off in most of the places, but I missed that one. But the other thing is, you've got this huge gap here. Let me show you why that's problematic. If you look at these, they look fine until you realize that, well, let me show you something. There's a little hook on the end of this that goes into this spot right here. So this comes in, and it hooks. That one got bent. It doesn't matter because we're not going to use them again. But so it comes in. Comes in, and then a number of these didn't survive very well, did they? I have one that works. Yeah, there we go. Kind of. All right. Yeah, that works. So, so the hook goes into that little slot in the bottom. If it doesn't, this does this thing. In order to keep that down where it belongs, it's got to be in there. Well, guess what happens when this back is gapping open? The minute you touch these wires, it wants to do this. And now you've got that popping up. I fought that all the time I was trying to fix this, and I finally got it to work, but then having this long stretch where it's cracked here, the pressure from all of these contacts in that center section were just making it bow. And I could have jammed some wedges in there. Of course, I didn't realize that I was fighting so hard to keep these in place. I didn't pay attention to the fact that that end was up too high, and it just was never going to work. It was a mistake. But at the same time, I'm wondering if I never did take that little piece of plastic that was right in there somewhere. Right there. I never did take that out. I just forgot. I just forgot about it. It's right there. And which you can't see, I guess. Well, the fact is that with an unbroken clip, this doesn't touch that, so it doesn't matter if it's there or not. And the other thing, I mentioned this before, I think, maybe, I have a feeling that at least one of these was not making proper contact. At least I hope that's the case, because, like I said before, I believe, not too long ago, the lights for the controls aren't working. Oh, I got to put that in place. I forgot to do that. I learned I didn't have to take those out, and this is much easier. Just loosen this up, slide it into place, tighten it up, and that's it. I wasn't really thinking when I took those screws out. You should do whatever you can to make life a little bit easier. Yes. So, I have not fired this up. I just got done soldering everything together. So we're going to flip this around, and we'll see what we can see. I'm going to put that. I don't know if that's going to help me at all. Leave that alone. This does have a fuse in it, so if I did something bad, I guess I will know it in a minute. Alright. Now, power. So far so good. Uh-oh. Not working. Lovely. Well, I guess I have to explore that. That's still staticky apparently. Some of these had, I don't think this one did, some of them had a pause button. I don't see it. Tape shift, power on and off. Well. I didn't check this switch to see. Oh, this was working before I took this apart, so I guess I'm going to have to explore that. Because that is a micro switch back there, and yeah, and I can't really see behind there, but there are 3 screws here that I think so I need to take that off probably. I think this stays there. I don't think the service manual tells me. Oh, this is. That's not nice. Huh. Okay. Is there any way? Let's see what's up in there. No. There's the. Well, I guess I have to explore this further because I don't know what's going on. Why it's not working. I know for a fact that connector was part of my problem. Because it just, half of those connections weren't making contact. So that's a problem. But I have to dig into it further. Well, you know, I guess I have an excuse. So I've not seen or worked on a tape recorder that had a remote control that you had to plug into it. Of course, since you unplug this to make the remote control work, obviously a lot of connections inside at this point are not being made because the remote control is not there. This has a lot to do with why this does not work. So, try this once more. So if I hit this, yes. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Ooh, I have lights. Interesting. So these three lights were not working before. Okay. The lights work. I'll bet that connector was the problem. Okay, now, why did I take this off? You're wondering. Let me show you. I guess I'll swing this a little bit more. No, go away. And I got to try to keep my soldering iron back on. Okay. Solenoid. That's what this is. Can I swing this more so you can get a better view? Yes. Let's move in a little bit more. And a little more. See what I see. I lost my other pointer. I'll use a straw. This is a diode. It should be connected here. There's a post over here and a post over here for the solenoid. And I am this tape recorder and the Marantz that I will have on another video came from the same house. And the Marantz had so many loose screws in it, I am just stunned. I found a few in this, but not like that. And there were just some very bizarre things that I just don't quite how they happened. Let's see. So I clipped this a little shorter because the wire is a little bit shorter, and I'm going to try to kind of get that. That's kind of gummy. All right. So can I? Ew. Fine, be that way. All right, let's go. So this has to go up here. Now, the reason this is here, and the reason why it matters, and the reason why I'm putting it back in there, is because there's something called back EMF. And when you energize a coil, the current flows through the coil and creates a magnetic field, which then actuates the solenoid. When you remove power from the coil, that field collapses, and as it's collapsing, that field is crossing all those little wires that are in the coil, and they are producing a voltage that is the reverse of what was applied to this to make it operate. The reason that that's bad is that solid-state devices don't really like that kind of stuff, and they can be damaged if you... I'm going to have to take this off. Oh. Well, here's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to go up and above and sort of bend it over. So I really don't want to, number one, run the risk of getting my brake drum here and burning a ridge into it. It would not be a good idea. Alright, let's see. Can we get in there without breaking things? Alright. Let's see, I want to use a screwdriver to clean up the dust that's there. Clean up the solder. Just kind of scraping that a little bit. In fact, what I think I'm going to try to do, just as kind of a test run, maybe. Well, let's see. Let's put some solder on here. Yeah, going downhill. I don't like things. That doesn't work so well. Yeah, I know some people aren't going to like the fact that I just laid that on there and soldered it. But there are so many connections in this that are done that way. And here we are 50 years later and it's still working. So, now I try, when I'm doing something like that, I try to blob enough solder on there so you actually have some strength. You get too thin with your solder and then things will break. I don't really understand though why or how that broke. I mean, it's not like it's... I just don't know. I didn't check that diode. I didn't even think to. Well, let's just do... I know it's because it's across the coil. I'm not going to be able to read it as a diode. But I want to make sure that we're not reading dead short. Let's see. So I didn't think to check on that. 72 ohms. Alright, you didn't see that. But when I read across that connection, it's 72 ohms, which means it's not shorted. So this gives you a better picture of my brakes. So there's a solenoid over here that releases the brakes. What is that? Huh. Point one. Well, that's interesting. I'll show you that in a minute. Okay. So anyway, so this diode is important because let me think. Yeah, I should have measured that before I soldered it. I didn't. I'm going to assume that diode is okay. It's been broken for a long time. Do I want to do that? Arg. I guess I should. I really do want that to be I really want to be sure that that's working. There we go. Okay. Stop being lazy. Alright, so and try to bring that reader into view. Okay, I'm going to go to here, I'm going to go to diode. Diode, okay. So, it's going to be fun. There you go. That's the back. Let's do the front. Okay. We know the diode's not shorted. I just checked that, but I'd like to know that it's working. Okay, whoops. Alright. Put it in there. Come on. Well, would you please? Well, I don't think that, there we go, 0.6. That's what we wanted to see. Okay, not sure why it was being so touchy. I guess it was because it can. Well, you're saying, I'm sure. Try this again, hopefully without melting anything I don't want to melt. Okay. Well, I'm so good at causing myself more work. All right. So anyway, I don't think I completed what I was saying. So the back EMF sends a reverse voltage, and it can be a pretty good jolt out to the devices that are controlling the solenoid. And what the diode does is, because the voltage is reversed and the diode is installed in such a way that it conducts during that time, it essentially short circuits that back EMF and prevents it from charging back into your solid state stuff and doing harm. Or it can damage, you can damage switches that way if those are controlling it. Now what's interesting about this is that this has a 0.1 microfarad capacitor on it instead of a diode. Not sure why that is, but that's what they did. So okay, I'm looking at this a little bit more closely because I read up a little bit on these Sony tape recorders, and one of the things they mentioned is that focus please, that these tape heads had the early ones were soft, too soft, and these would wear and you get a groove in them, and they would get to the point where you'd actually have to replace the tape heads. And while I see a little bit of wear on these, yeah, I don't know if you can see, yeah, you can see it a little bit. See this spot in the middle here? Yeah, it's hard to do when the camera wants to wash out on you. But right in the middle where the tape travels, there is a little bit of wear there. But I did get this to play at one point, so I know the head is not terminal. Let me back off here because you're just going to see nothing. All right. Put this back together. Now I would have liked to, I really would have liked to have gotten in there and checked the micro switch for that. It seems to be working okay, but I really would have liked to checked it and, if necessary, taken it apart and cleaned it. To do that, you have to take this little pin out of here. There's a little cotter key that's bent into place, and then you take the pin out, drop this down, take these 3 screws, and there's a couple behind you that may also have to come out, I'm not sure. Pull this off, and then there's a bunch of wires that are held in place by plastic clips that are screwed into place. There's a lot involved with replacing this. I think this would have to, yeah, this would come out. I think this would come out with this. Anyway, long and short of it is, I was not really excited about the idea of tearing this all apart, and I would really have been unhappy if after doing all that I found out that my problem was that connection on the side. I'm not sure what made me think of that. Because one of the things I kept thinking, well, is there a switch or something somewhere that would prevent this from working? And one of the things I really like about my, I think it's a Panasonic tape reel-to-reel. One of the things I like about the Panasonic is it's got a pause lever. You hit the pause lever. It's like queuing. You get the tape set where you want it to go. You hit the button or the lever, and then you can start your recording. Maybe give yourself a little bit of quiet, and then you hit release the pause, and then it starts playing. That's a feature with, given all the other things they've put into this, that's one feature that they didn't seem to have done. A little surprised with that. Let's see. Since I've got this off, we'll just get rid of some of the dust. Not that I think it's going to hurt much, but what the heck. I'm seeing it, I will deal with it. There. Okay. Well, it was kind of, the plus side of this is, when I was poking around just looking at things, I spotted that broken wire, which again, kind of blows my mind. How did that happen? It's not exactly like something's banging on it or hitting it, or I don't know. Doesn't make any sense. Here we go. So yeah, there are some strange things I've been running into lately with loose fasteners that just doesn't make sense. All right. Yes, okay. Now, one of the things I am going to do is lay this on its back. I'm going to put and then I'm going to put the top cover lay the top cover on it. Because I'm not entirely sure that those brakes are, this screwdriver fits better, that those brakes are working as they ought to. And it's a whole lot nicer to have a nice big cover underneath your tape reel. So that the tape spools out. The worst you have is tape lying on your back cover. as opposed to like it did it wound around this last time. I was a little shocked at that when it did that, but I learned. So the question now is, so when you're putting this on, all of your levers have to be straight up and down or the cover won't go on, because the levers actually extend beyond. Alright, so beyond the, you can't see that. I want to bring this up anyway so you can see better. Let's see, oops. We're going to go up high, and we're maxed. Okay, when you flip these levers down, they extend beyond the opening. When you try to put the cover on, it interferes. So, tape. And, okay, I need there. Okay, be that way. Come on. There we are. So, you get that between there, and you get this. You get this around there. Yeah. Is that what I want to do? I guess I can do. Yeah. There, okay. Okay. We have lights, action. So good. So far, so good. Now, line in, line out's over there. Let's see. What did I do with? Darn. What did I do with my? Oh, okay. I got organized. This reel was not on. Was not on this bench for a while because I was working on something else while I was waiting for the replacement part, and so I kind of cleaned everything up, put things away. All right, so we want this. For that, and to CD, I think. All right, turn that up. That back on. Have no idea. Playback volume. All right. Well. Oh, playback volume. Well, let's see. Oh, the brakes actually work. This one's still a little bit noisy. I'm not sure why. Seems like it was playing better before. Go a little bit faster.
my mistakes without defiance. Show them I'm worthy, and while I show them, I'll show me. And bring on all their problems. I'll do better than my best.
Okay, well, it plays. This is an interesting design. Doesn't look like it wraps very much around this, but there really isn't any other way to do this, because you need this arm springing, typical of a lot of these reel-to-reels. This arm puts tension on the tape around this pulley in some cases, or flywheel in this instance. And there's just no other way to route that, so I was looking at that to see. So definitely behaving a whole lot better. The controls, when I first started playing with this, I actually had to hold the control down in order for this to do something, and even then it was a little bit flaky. But now it seems to be, all these switches here seem to be working properly. This little switch seemed to have been very touchy at first, but it seems to be working fine now. I think I'm going to try to find another tape. So I'm not sure. The quality, this is kind of boomy, and I'm not sure if it's the tape or the tape player. And I played sections of this once before, long ago, so I don't remember how this sounded. That sounds that didn't sound all that great, to be honest. So let me see if I can round up a tape, and then, yeah. Okay, well, I found a pre-recorded tape. This may be the only one I've got. I didn't buy this. I think it was given to me. A lot of the tapes that I do have are recordings off the radio or something like that. But this was what I was looking for to see how this actually sounds. Obviously I won't be able to play it for very long, but...
We're plans for nobody. Doesn't have a point of view.
That's probably about all I can do. They'd probably nail me on that one. But it's very crisp and very clean with lots of bottom. This is an early stereo tape, and I don't know what the date when this was made. They don't tell you. No, they don't. Capital tape. But as you can tell, this thing, I have actually had to turn the treble way down on the stereo because it was so crisp and so sharp. So the heads in this are actually in decent shape. But what's interesting about this is, unlike modern stereo, the right-hand side of the stereo sound, how can I explain it? There isn't that blending together of some of the stuff in the background. The right channel seems to be its own separate thing from the left channel, and it's the complete music, but it's just not the same. Maybe I'll try, maybe I can do this with, yeah, hopefully not get nailed.
Isn't he a bit?
That's perfect. So you got on the left side it's all the bass and some of the music, and on the right hand side you've got it's all vocals. And it's okay, but if you're listening to it, with a pair of spare, through a stereo system with speakers separated from each other, you can hear the bass and everything all over in one speaker and the vocals all over on the other speaker. So it's definitely different. What is this? Stereo. I don't know where I got this stuff. I got a whole bunch of German stuff, which I have no idea. That'll be for later for me to play with. I am going to have to do something about the brakes in this. This is a relatively small reel, and the brakes aren't stopping it. If I go fast forward, this spools out all over the place, which makes me very happy that I did what I'm doing, which is lay it on its back, put the cover on. That way, if it winds out too far, I can just wind it back in. It's behaving better than it was when I first got it and before I cleaned the brakes, but yeah, I'm not sure. I had some of that cork stuff which could work. I'll have to play with that, I guess. But at this point, though, what do I have to do? I think, and these controls seem a little bit, I'm going to turn the volume down. These controls seem a little bit flaky still. See. See, it's not, I don't know why it's not latching. That's weird. What's scraping here? Oh, this probably isn't centered. Yeah. Now, a little while ago I could hold this down and it would actually continue to fast forward and rewind, and when I let go of it, it didn't. So I don't know. It's not behaving as it was a little bit ago. When I get this all back together, I might play with the echo just for the fun of it. But yeah, so the brakes. When I was getting to the spot that I played this from, this side just kept going and it was spooling off, and it's not good. So that needs help. That needs some attention. And then, but I think that's clean. I won't know that. I won't know this until if I try to record with this. This is the mic again. I won't know how that is. This control, I might be able to tell if I use the echo. Let's see. What else do I have to? Oh, okay. So back to the lights. Before I replaced that connector, I did not have lights here. But now I do, so, boy, this sucker really spins. So, I think that needed replacing anyway. Yeah, I was shocked when I was gently trying to heat this up to see if I could bow it in the other direction, but I didn't realize that this side was up. But as I was flexing it a little bit, it just came apart. And again, I don't know if it's the glue just let go. Kind of looks like that, which disappoints me. Now, I was going to take, because I knew there wasn't a lot of thickness there, so I was going to take a piece of plastic and put it across the top it across the top and then across the other side and give it some more strength, but I just don't think it's the best way to go. Anyway, so a lot closer to making this usable, and I'm kind of pleased that it sounds actually pretty good. If I find anything interesting in that in those German tapes, I might play one of those too. I'm going to. What am I going to do? Not sure what I'm going to do next. Oh, I'm going to play with it next. That's what I'm going to do. Off camera. I'm just going to play around with it, see how it behaves. I mentioned that I was going to play around with this a little bit, and I found this tape, James Last, Happy Lehar, I don't know. It's all in German, the rest of it. But it's instrumental, and I used Shazam to try to identify the music. It couldn't identify it. That means I can play some of this without worrying too much about getting hit with a copyright claim. At least I think so. But this is the more I play this, the better it seems to behave. The controls are working better. Not exactly sure why, but now when I hit fast forward or rewind, it locks in like it's supposed to. I hooked this into my main stereo amp just to see how it would sound on that, because I've got better speakers attached to that. So I thought I'd play a little bit of this, because it's not going to be everybody's taste in music, but this gives you an idea of how nice this actually sounds, and the fact that the heads are indeed in pretty good shape. So let's listen. Alright, so we're going to stop that there. It plays really well. As I was playing, I played around with this special switch. It didn't seem to do much. I'm guessing that if you were recording, well actually that makes sense because this is in the recording section, so if you're recording this probably matters. When you're playing it back, apparently not. I also played with this briefly to see if it would do anything. Again, I have a feeling that that is also only applied when you are recording. When you're recording something, or you're looking for echo or something like that. I haven't read through the manual closely enough. Apparently, what did I do with my book? Oh, where are you? Ah, there we are. Let's check out the book and see if I can come up with an answer to that question. Let's see. Oh, by the way, if you're playing, even horizontal, if you're playing this reel-to-reel, you want the latches in. Because it's when you're going fast forward, it's possible for these to lift up, and then the tape goes underneath. Or if you stop suddenly and you don't notice that it's gone underneath, it will wrap itself around the base of this and do other bad things. It can actually lift the tape completely up and start wrapping around this. Ask me how I know. So whenever you're playing this, you want the locks in place so that the reels cannot lift off. So, tape threading. Okay, they show me how to thread the tape. Yep, they show it the way I thought it would be done. Let's see, echo control. The only thing that's lacking for this thing to be really nice to use is the brakes working properly. So, okay. Oh, here's something interesting that I missed before. Tape monitor selection. Monitor, okay. For playback, set the selectors to tape positions, which is what I've done. While recording, the tape position monitors the monitor's tape, and the source position monitors the source. So this is what I thought. What I mentioned before was, if it's in tape mode and you're recording, it's going to be listening, that head's going to be listening to, one of those heads is going to be listening to what you've recorded on the tape. That's how I understand that. Recording adjustments, okay. Oh, recording level adjustment can be accomplished by setting these selectors to source position without activating the record button. So if you're trying to get the right level for your recording, you don't have to put it in record mode, just put it in source, and then these will be alive, and then you can adjust your levels where you want them. Alright, effective, okay, yes, alright, that's what I thought. I think I can zoom in a little bit and you can get a better picture of what I'm reading. Okay. So this was the monitor. Special function, SOS off echo, echo control, effective only in record mode. So that answers that. So those were pretty much the only questions I had. So, yeah, well, since I'm playing around with this a little bit, I want to comment on some things that I picked up when reading about this unit. Sony seemed to have been a little bit behind in some ways. When other companies were going to ICs, Sony stayed with transistors, and they also tended to be more complex in their designs. They said, you know, where other manufacturers would use one transistor, Sony would use 3. Why does that matter? Well, more components means more possibilities for failure, for one. It probably meant that these were a little bit more expensive. Troubleshooting these could probably be a lot of fun if they failed, because you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boards here, along with all the other connections. Oh, there's a board on the side also, so it's 6 boards of components. So these can be very complex machines, and you know, when I was thinking that I was going to have to dig into this and troubleshoot it, even with the service information, part of me said, boy, I'm not sure I want to do this, because this is a lot. And unfortunately, the service information was somewhat lacking. I didn't print everything out. Maybe if I printed everything out so I could put pieces together so I could trace things easier, it may not have been so bad. But, as I think I mentioned before, it was, well, for instance, that connector in the back that I repaired, or I replaced, actually, they designate that with a certain number in the information in the service manual. That number does not show up on that connector anywhere. And I've got it out now. And there remains a little bit of a number here, but that number seems to have nothing to do with what the service manual tells me it should be. And and when I was there was a number on the connector that I replaced. That number didn't seem to line up with the format of the numbers that were being applied to the different connectors. So I'm not sure. T304. I'm gonna look at that more. But it seems to me when I was looking at this number and trying to match it up with the service information, this number didn't match anything. So there are things they could have done better in their documentation, for one. But as you can hear, it's a nice sounding unit, and if I could get the brakes to work properly, I think this would be a nice unit to work with. It's got some features that some of the other rear wheels don't have, at least the ones that I'm familiar with. But it's also missing like the pause button. How important that is, I don't know. The fact that you could set your levels without hitting the record button, that could be kind of handy. But you know, it does have a lot of features. It's interesting that they've got this tape shift feature, and it made me wonder something. And this also makes me wonder if this model was one of the units that had the softer heads. I forget what they were replaced with, but the better heads, the heads that they replaced the earlier versions with were a lot better and held up a lot longer. And in fact, one commentator said that the higher quality heads, or the harder surface heads, would quite likely last the life of the tape unit. The softer heads, unfortunately, were basically a wear item, and you'd replace those fairly often, more so than perhaps you would like. So I really don't. They weren't clear about what models that change to the harder heads took place. It would be nice to know that, just for future knowledge. But the heads on this look good and they sound good, and this isn't going to get a lot of use by me. I'm debating about whether I want to keep this or I want to keep my Pioneer. The thought runs through my mind, well, if this thing records, then maybe I'll keep this one. But the thing is, I'm not likely to record onto reel-to-reel tape. Although the thought runs through my mind, you can get, if you have a full-size, if you get a full one of these reels, I mean, depends on the speed that you choose. You got 3 3/4 or 7 1/2. You choose 3 3/4. I think, oh man, 6 hours, 8 hours, something like that. Not sure. It's been a long time since I worried about that or thought about that. But you get a long period. You get a long playing music source if you have a full reel of one of these. It also, I think, boy, now I'm really digging back. I think that the mill thickness on some tapes was thicker than others. I think the cheaper tapes were thicker, just because the material was cheaper and probably more prone to break if it weren't thicker. But I also think they had higher quality tape that was thinner, which meant that you could get more tape on here and longer playing time. Yeah, I'm looking at German, so it's going to tell me how long that is. The Beatles album, which you saw, was really, really short. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 songs on here. And this is a 3 3/4 tape. And it's, so let's see. That's all the tape there is. So, 11 songs, depending on, they don't tell you how many minutes per song. Maybe 3 or 4 minutes per song, depending on what it is. So 10 minutes be 30 minutes. I may have to play this someday, and all the way through and time it. Just out of curiosity, because I don't think those songs are all that long. The ones I've listened to didn't seem to be. So anyway, yeah. So overall, I'm pretty happy with this. It's working great. The one headache that reel-to-reels always had as they age was the brakes. The brakes don't work, or don't work very well. Even a tape this small. if this reel is heavier than this one, it's metal. So if you're going fast forward, and this is over here, this will spin out and try to dump tape unless you stop it with your fingers. So that's the only thing, really the only thing that I'm not happy about.